Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our lovely Girls in the Game virtual programming. So, for anyone who has been here since the beginning or even from last week, welcome back. And then for any of the new people here, hi, I am Coach Stephanie. I hope you're having a great day. So, before we begin, I would like to ask you guys to text the lovely number that I'm actually about to type into the chat as well. I want you guys to text the number 312 869 2729. Again, that is 312 869 2729. And I want you guys to do is text your name and then the school that you go to with this number. So that way we can make sure who has joined us today. And I appreciate you joining as well. So, and remember, do not put this into the YouTube chat at all. Because I want to make sure you keep your privacy as safe as possible. So we're gonna talk about our five-figure contract real quick. I'll be brief as usual. So first off, if you want to count with me, you can always have your hands up for this. So first, we're gonna start off with safety. As stated, I want no one to share any of their personal information. This involves their full name, their school, or their location, like their address or like neighborhood, in the comments. So that, because as stated, I want to make sure you guys are safe and keep private stuff out of the public eye. And next we have commitment. So this one's more of a less chat, but later on for all of my Friday ones, we're gonna be moving around a bit more. So I want you guys to at least try to be committed to any of the activities that we do. And of course, I love to listen and have any questions or comments. Of course, you can always put that in the chat. Which leads me to respect. I am okay with you guys saying hi to me in the chat. I do read all the comments. And I want to make sure that there are no negativity type of comments or no put down comments in there. I will delete those. And then next is going to be is teamwork. So as stated, I'm okay with comments. You can be positive. You can just say hi, and I'll totally be okay with that. And you can also invite your family to watch and join. The more the merrier, as I like to go with it. And then remember, if we follow all these, we're going to have lots of fun. So as stated, whenever I have a less chat, this is just going to be more of a talking, so you can just get comfortable. But next week, I will be doing more physical stuff. So we're going to have lots of fun. And of course, since I like to do some research when it comes to my Let's Chats, all of my information and sources, if you want to look into them later on, is going to be down in the description below. And they will be up until Monday. So around Monday. Hi. They will be up until about maybe Monday morning. So if you want to come back to the video during the weekend to look up the sources that I have, you may do so. That's why I put them in the chat for you. So if you read by the title, I'm going to be talking about track and field. And the biggest difference with this is I'm mainly going to explain a big difference between when it comes to track and field. So now some of you might have said, what is track and field? Or you probably heard of it, but you maybe never tried it or you never fully looked into it, which I understand. So I like to consider track and field kind of like a jack of all trades type of sport, because there's a lot of variety and different types of category sports in that field. Now, I have done track and field in high school, and the biggest question I've always gotten, or at least a statement, everyone always say, is cross country the same in track and field? I can promise you from the bottom of my heart, there is a lot of differences. It's not the same. Well, there are some sort of similarities between the two, besides, of course, the running part. Like, for example, for both track and cross country, you're mainly training your body to run faster than before, and then you just have to beat your current times, which is mainly the main goal of your sport, is to beat your last time, because that shows oh, you have improved. Now, there are some differences by a long run, no pun intended, between the two. So I'm going to mainly talk about cross country first. So according to the dictionary.com, I want to make sure I say this right. Cross country is directed or proceeding over fields, through woods, etc., rather than on a road or path. So what this is mainly stating, you can technically train and do cross country anywhere. So this could be like on the grass, dirt. You can do hills, forests, like technically you name it. But you just gotta make sure it's not on a road. So like for example, for people who like to maybe like ride their bikes on the streets or sidewalks, that will not count for cross country. So and then some people prefer to like do cross country as a way to train for track and field because for cross country you only run and that's it. So I like to say you're battling the elements in track and field. I mean, I bet in cross country. Where track and field, you stay on the track and the track only. Or of course, you could train on the track. Have you seen like those little lines of a track, like in an oval kind of situation? That's what that is. So, let me make sure I got all my self information as well. Now, as stated, you can use cross country as a way to train for track and field. And I know this because some of my track mates in high school was in cross country. And then later on, they kind of just joined the track portion later on in the school year. But you can choose between cross country and track. You don't have to do both. It's mainly a choice. Now, unlike track, as stated, cross country is only running, and it's only in the fall. So cross country is only fall, whereas for track and field, that's only in the winter and spring. Winter is mainly for indoor, and of course, spring is for outdoor. And with cross country, you pretty much just do the same workouts together. You do the same type of drills, and sometimes you can actually have a better bond with cross country. And I'll explain why I said that in a minute. But cross country is an outdoor sport only. So it's only in the fall, which is my favorite season because it's a bit colder. But later on, it just ends in the fall. There's like nothing else to do later on. So if you choose to keep running, then you could join track and field. But as I stated before, it's a choice. So as time goes on with track and field, how can I explain this in a better way? If you ever see people are like just training, or if you see like a group of people kind of like wearing marathon type, like with a number on their chest or anything like that, and you see them just running through the fields, that's cross country. Whereas cross country actually does not have a Olympic spot compared to track and field. So whenever you're watching the Olympics and you see a lot of people running, hello everyone, and see everyone's running, that is actually track and field. People say that they were debating on putting in the Olympics back in the 19th century, but the 20th century, but they decided not to do that. So now I'm actually going to explain a little bit more with track and field. So I gave you guys the definition for cross country. So I think it's fair to give you the definition for track and field. Track and field is relating to or participating in the sport of running, pole vaulting, board jumping, etc. Now, as I stated before, track and field is like a variety, a jack of all trades, because it's like little parts of is like, so technically there's three categories. There's running, throwing, and jumping, but there are so many subcategories that you could just branch out and do different types of training for it. So I'm going to explain the running part first. There are actually 5 types of running in total. Now remember, when I mentioned about cross country, they might have a stronger bond because they do the same exercise, and kind of like depending on what you do, there might be different types of exercising for track and field to build up the strength, depending on which event you do. Now, track and field is known for one person to probably doing like 2 different events, even though it's in the same area. But that doesn't mean you have to do all of them. I've had friends who only do like one type of event, and then I've seen 2 other track mates did like 3 different events. So depending on if you want to do it or if the coach has trained you to do it. Now, for the 5 types of runnings, there are known as sprints, middle distance, long distance, hurdles, and probably the most common one you hear is relays. So I'll talk about sprints. There are 3 types of sprints, which depending on the distance. There is known as the 100 meters, the 200 meters, and the 400 meters. Also, if I'm going too fast, please tell me in the comments to slow down. I want to make sure I get all the information out as well. But if I'm going too fast or you want me to break anything down, that's totally fine. So sprints are what is way much what the definition is. You quickly run fast and then that's it. So the 100 meters is shorter than the 400 meters. It's just a quick sprint. They time it and that's it. Whereas with long distance, they only have two types compared to three with sprints, which is the 800 and the 1500. That one is almost close to a mile run. I might have to fact check myself, but usually that one is a bit, of course, longer by meters. And you actually see people start to slow down a bit during that as well. And then the long distance is like the 3K and the 5Ks. That one could almost be as close to more than a mile. Now, hurdles is my favorite one to watch. So with hurdles, it's the same thing as a sprint. The only difference is, and I'm pretty sure people have seen these bars before, it's like a little white bar that has like a metal pole sticking and is set to the bottom. What they do is they're running and they have to jump over each hurdle as they run. So usually you see their legs like just hopping up quickly and then quickly going, but they have to keep running to the end goal. And they only have the 100 meter and the 400. So it's the same amount as sprints, but just obstacles in your way. And people can knock down hurdles. I've seen it before, but that doesn't mean that they failed it. They just, when they hit it, sometimes their speed is just knocked down. But that's no problem. That's why you train. And then, as stated, the common ones you probably guys have seen, whether it's on television or probably the big one on with the Olympics, is relays. Now, relays always have 4 people. They'll always have 4 people no matter what in the relays. Now, there are 2 types of relays. There's the 4x1s, or known as the 4 by with 100 meters, and then there's the 4x4, which is known as 4 people doing the 400 meters. So what this means is they'll quickly run, and you probably see like a little metal bar, which is known as a baton. This is the one where people are running towards the next person, and then you probably see them trying to quickly grab the baton behind them. And the reason why they do that is because they don't lose momentum as they're running. They quickly try to keep their arm like behind them, like so. And then, so let me get this for example. So let's say this is a baton. When someone's behind you, they have to quickly grab the baton from behind them. So that way they can, once they grab it, they can just keep running with the momentum. Because if you do that, it breaks momentum and their speed is actually slowing down. Especially because if someone's coming after you, they're gonna keep running until you're able to grab the baton and then sprint past them. And then the 4x4s is they usually go around the track, and then right when they're about to get to the right when about to get to the last lap, that's when you see like another group of people from the same teams get ready to get in position, start running, and then of course they grab the baton and pass it by. So I say that's probably the main one you'll see, but there are but the situation with certain relays, some of them can be going at the same time. That's why there's like different types of relays, and then might be doing like some sprints, and then of course we can go into the field category. But since we're hitting the halfway mark, I see that some people have joined in later on. So first off, hi and welcome back. Thank you for joining. And I want you guys to put your name and the school that you go to. What's this number that I have in the chat, which is 312-869-2729. Again, that is 312-869-2729. And if you do forget, or if there's any technical errors later on, the number is also going to be in the description if you need it for later on, or if you forgot to do it, we can always come back. So now we're going to go into my favorite part of track and field, which is the field sports. Now with the field sports, this is where the other 2 categories go to. But those two categories have 4 subcategories. So remember what I stated, it likes to branch out a bit. So the main two is jumping and throwing. Now, I did track and field for 3 years in high school. So I will actually be considered in the throwing categories because I did shot put and discus. But the other two throwing sports that my high school unfortunately could not do is known as javelin and hammer throws. So, but of course, and then the jumping sports are known as follow. So there's the long jump, there's the triple jump, the high jump, and then, unfortunately, not going with the rhymes of jump, pole vaulting. So I'm going to start with the jumping category first, because that one, there's like two of them. 2 out of the 4 are almost like technically the same. It's just depending on how or what you're trained for. So we're going to talk more about the long jump and the triple jump first. So with the long jump, all your jumps involves running. You need to run to get momentum and get a head start. So don't forget that you'll always have to run for jumping. So for long jumps, what you'll have to do is you're going to quickly sprint. So sometimes you will train with the short sprinters to get a quicker time. And then with the long and for long and triple jump, there's a sand pit. The sand pit is mainly just to help your cushion when you leap for a jump and land. Because the way they track your distance is the second you land. So if you like fall forward and your hands land into the sand pit, which is okay, because it's a type of balance you have to train with. They always gonna go by distance of the second where your feet lands. So what you do is you're gonna sprint, and then you just do a quick jump. So I like to call it like a leap of faith. You just jump as far as you can, land, and that's it. That is your time. Whereas with triple jump, which is a little bit trickier, because I stated you're running to get momentum. But with triple jump, you start running, and then you actually have to jump 3 times before you land into the pit. So if you miss a jump, they might not count they might not count it. So you actually have to just jump 3 times. That's why it's called triple jump. And then you jump for the sand pit, and that's how they track your distance. So sometimes the jumping can either make you faster by going further, or sometimes people have to train better because sometimes the jump kind of breaks their momentum a bit. So that's why there's a big difference. There's like one leap of faith, and then jumping, and then sometimes that third jump is when they kind of have to do their leap of faith. So it varies from person to person. And then the next two is high jumps and pole vaulting. So they're the same. They're also the same, but different concept. So to explain, you might have seen this one as well, because pole vaulting is another common one you'll probably see, if not the high jump. So they have 2 poles, and then they have like a little banner stick that is easily movable. So what you do is you have to sprint as quickly as you can. So I'm going to explain the high jump first. You have to sprint and run as quickly as you can. But once you get to the area, you have to bend and then quickly jump up and go over the pole. So I'm going to use this as an example. So I'm going to use my thumb. You have to quickly jump over it without trying to touch this. Because if you touch it and it moves, so if it touches a little bit but it never moves, you're in the clear. But if it falls off of it, it's not going to count, no matter what. So that's why you're trained to make sure you try to not touch the pole as much as you can. Sometimes you might hit it, but as long as it stays on there, you're fine. Whereas with pole vaulting, you actually have to run with a giant pole in your hand. So as you're running, you're quickly going to run and go as fast as you can, but halfway to it, you have to jab the pole to the ground, and then you have to lift your body up and then try to jump jump as far as you can without touching the stick. Because I stated, you touch the stick even with pole vaulting. So if the pole touches the stick, it's not going to count. It'll be disqualified. So you have to make sure you use your whole body. I like to consider it as try to make a U shape over the pole. Because if you make a U shape, then your body's not going to really touch the pole as much. but it can still happen. I have seen it. So you have to be very careful with that. And finally, last but not least, we'll be talking about the throwing category. So no matter which one you do, the concept of throwing, you're throwing some type of heavy object, very, or except for javelin, very far, and they'll track the distance the second that item lands. So I'm going to talk about javelin first, because javelin is going to be the only throwing competition where you have to run. All the other three, shot put, discus, and hammer throwing, for that one, javelin is the only way you have to run. So I like to consider javelin like a spear, because you gotta have this one pole with a little tip, like an arrow type of tip. You gotta run for a quick sprint, and you have to throw that bad boy as far as you can, and then the second it lands into the ground, that's when it counts. So you want distance, and sometimes having that momentum of running gives you that momentum to throw it with it. Throw the javelin with it, with the wind. That's what I was trying to say. Now, so as stated, for the next three I'm about to explain, you do not need to run for. You're mainly going to be in one area, usually preferably in a circle type of area. For a distance of one, you don't hit anyone with it. But of course, they make sure no one's in the field so you don't accidentally hit one or someone. So I will explain for distance. Now, I've done discus during my outdoor times in track and field. You're going to be standing in a circle, and then you'll have a disc which is called the discus. Now, people think discus is like frisbee because it looks like a heavier frisbee. It is not a frisbee. It's a bit heavier, maybe a couple of pounds, well, actually a lot of pounds difference. And you don't throw it like a frisbee. It's like a weird type of angle where as you throw it, that's when the discus has to like come out. So I'll be definitely showing you more of the techniques in next week's video. But you mainly have to like throw it and stay in the circle. Because if you step out of the circle, that's disqualified as well. So you learn to keep momentum and do a technique so that way you stay into that circle and don't accidentally step out of it, because you need to build up a little bit of momentum as well. Now, next is shot put. Now, for shot put, you can do shot put indoor and outdoor. Discus, javelin, and hammer throwing is all outdoors. Now, I'm not 100% sure about college one. I'm really explaining high school a bit more because I've done it in high school. But I know college has a few different types of measurements and sizes of certain items. But for shot put, you're gonna have for at least for women, men is a little bit heavier. You're gonna be throwing a 8-pound ball, but you're not gonna like throw it. Because if you throw it, it will not count. You have to like have the ball close to your neck as possible, and you're gonna like technically chuck it. So you know how like going for a high five, it's kind of like that. You're gonna chuck it over without getting out of the ring, of course. And then last but not least would be the hammer throw. I like to call hammer throw shot put with a string. And the reason why I say that, you're still going to be throwing a heavy ball, but instead of using your hand, you're going to have like a little handle where you're going to spin in a circle. And then, of course, as gravity is intended, as you're spinning in a circle with the stick, as you're spinning it, the ball's gonna slowly start rising up, and then you technically just throw the ball with, of course, the string, and then the second it lands, that's your distance as well. So so you can technically train for shot put and heavy throw the same way. The only difference is just a different type of technique. So depending on which one you choose, when it comes to throwing, especially with a heavy ball, that's where mostly weight training is going to be coming into place. As stated, you will have to do some running, especially if you're doing javelin, because the quicker you run, the quicker you're able to build up speed and throw the javelin spear, I like to call it, because it does look like a spear. But mainly when it comes to throwing, that's where lift training comes into play, because you don't want to accidentally like sprain your arm or like accidentally pull out your bag because you're trying to quickly get the ball up. So remember, guys, you have to be very safe when it comes to the field type of groups, because if you don't train or if you're not safe, you can get pretty badly damaged. So always got to be safe when it comes to throwing items. And with that, we are running out of time, so I want to say thank you guys for joining our lovely virtual programming today. I hope you enjoy me mainly just talking, but mainly also explaining different types of track and field, and it will be going into certain types of techniques and things that people train, or at least their types of stretches as well, to get their body used to getting ready for track and field. So if you'd like to join us for our programming, I cannot talk today. Our coaches will be leading another programming starting at 3 o'clock to 3:30. Of course, you can also follow the link at www.girlsinthegame.org/live. And then for anybody who's going to be joining our team time through Google Meet, please follow the link provided in the invitation email, or also go to www.girlsinthegame.org/virtual, so that way you click on the right one for your schools. Also, do not forget to join Girls in the Game on Facebook, Instagram, where you can find more videos through there, and also subscribe to our lovely YouTube channel, where you'll be able to catch up on all of our old videos, as well as make sure you see when the next video is about to go live. Thank you guys, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everyone.